couple decides to adopt a child and goes to the orphanage to meet the children. Their attention is drawn to a 9-year-old girl, Esther, whose parents died in a fire. She is well-mannered, speaks very well, draws well, and constantly sings sweet songs. She also dresses in old-fashioned clothes and wears ribbons around her arms and neck. The orphanage has only positive things to say about her, although they clarify that she hardly communicates with other children and spends most of her time alone. But this does not stop Kate and John, and they take the girl to their home. Along the way, they immediately start learning sign language to establish contact with Max. Esther's relationship with Max and John goes well right away, but not so well with Kate and Daniel. The boy is jealous of his father, who has begun to devote more time to his new daughter, and because of this, he constantly runs away to his treehouse. Kate and John just can't find the right line of behavior because the girl behaves too much like an adult. After Esther appears, strange things start happening in the house that are not at all obvious to others. In addition, Esther flatly refuses to go to the dentist or undergo any medical examinations. Although Kate suspects something is wrong with her adopted daughter, no one believes her because Esther behaves perfectly with her father and gets along well with him. In addition, it turns out that the family's relationship is not as good as it seemed at first. In the past, Kate had a problem with alcohol, and it was her fault that Max lost his hearing. Because of this, John questions all of his wife's fears. But soon, really strange and scary things start happening. At school, everyone makes fun of Esther because of her appearance, and she has a conflict with a classmate. In the evening of the same day, Daniel accidentally hits a pigeon and injures it, and the girl ruthlessly kills the bird. In order to somehow improve her relationship with her adopted daughter, Kate decides to teach her to play the piano and tells her the story of their dead child, while showing her a greenhouse with roses that symbolizes eternal love. The next day, under John's supervision, all the children go for a walk to the playground, where they meet a girl with whom Esther had a conflict at school. Then Esther lures the offending girl up a slide and pushes her down in front of Max. The girl ends up with a broken ankle, but Esther manages to convince John that it was just an accident and that she had no malicious intent. Kate and John are skeptical about these events, and Daniel quarrels with the girl and runs away again to his treehouse. As a punishment, John takes away his keys and forbids him to go there. The next day, Abigail from the orphanage comes to visit the family. Her visit is due to the fact that she has not yet received the necessary medical reports on Esther's condition. In addition, she studied the girl's personal file in more detail and came to the conclusion that everything is not so smooth and Kate's doubts are not unfounded. Esther has never been seen doing anything negative, but trouble is always happening around her. During all the conflicts or accidents, she was somewhere nearby, though not directly involved. The fire in her previous family's house was no accident. After overhearing the conversation, Esther grabs Max and decides to take revenge on the woman when she leaves their home. When she sees the woman's car on the road, Esther pushes Max in front of it, forcing the woman to pull over. When she gets out of the car to check on Max, she is immediately hit with a hammer. After the murder, Esther forces Max to help her hide the body, and then goes to the treehouse to change the bloody clothes into clean ones and hide them there with the hammer. Frightened, Max doesn't tell anyone, but Kate already realizes that something is wrong and decides to take Esther to her psychiatrist. However, the girl manages to deceive her, and she decides that there is nothing wrong with the child, and the problem is with Kate, who does not try to establish a relationship with her adopted daughter, but rather does everything to make her uncomfortable. After that, the couple's relationship finally deteriorates, and they start quarreling constantly. In the evening, the police arrive to find Abigail's corpse in the woods. After interviewing the family, they leave, and Kate finally realizes that something is wrong with her sisters. John again refuses to listen to her, and this leads to a new conflict in the family. Esther sneaks into Daniel's room at night, and threatening him with a knife, she forces him to keep quiet. That's why in the morning, when his mother asks him about it, he answers that he has no conflicts with his sisters. Max confirms the same. At the same time, Esther begins to turn John against his wife. She claims that the woman hates her and is doing everything to get her back to the orphanage. John advises the girl to do something nice for her foster mother. She agrees and cuts the roses that were planted in honor of her deceased daughter. She gives these roses to Kate. To completely discredit Kate in the eyes of others, Esther sneaks into the basement at night and breaks her arm. She then tells John that it happened when she wanted to give Kate the flowers. The couple has another conflict, and Kate then goes to the store to buy alcohol. However, she stops at the last moment and pours the alcohol into the sink. In the morning, Kate drives all the children to school. Daniel gets out of the car first, and his mother notices that his backpack is torn. She runs out of the car to tell him about it, but in fact it was Esther who cut the backpack. And taking advantage of the situation, she takes the car off the brake, leaving Max inside. The car starts rolling downhill and crosses the entire roadway, but the girl is not injured. Then John and the psychiatrist decide that the woman needs to be sent to rehab because she has obvious mental problems, and the empty bottle in the trash indicates that she has started drinking alcohol again. Max knows that Esther is to blame for everything, but he doesn't say anything because he fears for his parents' lives. Kate agrees to go to the hospital, but asks to do it a little later. She uses this time to find evidence of Esther's guilt. After digging through the girl's things, Kate finds a strange photo of a man and a diary with the name of an institution. Finding the number of this institution, she calls it, and it turns out that it is a psychiatric hospital in another country. They can't tell her anything else. To find out more about Esther's connection to the hospital, Kate sends a photo of her there. Meanwhile, Daniel tries to talk to Max and learns from her that Esther is responsible for Abigail's death and that she hid her belongings in his treehouse. However, Esther manages to overhear their conversation, and then it decides to eliminate Daniel. When he comes to the house to check it for evidence, Esther sets fire to the carpet and locks the boy inside. Trying to escape, he jumps from the roof of the house and loses consciousness. Esther is about to kill him with a stone, but at the last moment she is pushed away by Max. Kate immediately comes running, and they take their son to the hospital. John even comes there with Max. Esther tells everyone that she is going to get a soda, and she goes to Daniel's room and smothers him with a pillow. But she is unable to revive him again, as doctors come to the rescue due to cardiac arrest, and Esther has to leave the room. Hearing that her son's heart has stopped, Kate finally loses her temper and beats Esther in front of everyone. After that, she is officially admitted for treatment. This leaves only John, Max, and Esther in the house. In the evening, Esther puts on makeup and tries to seduce John, but he rejects her. At the same time, Kate is in the hospital. A doctor from the hospital where she sent Esther's photo contacts her. He informs her that the girl's real name is Lena and that she is not 9 years old, as her foster parents think. It turns out that she is a 33-year-old woman who suffers from a rare disease that makes her look like a child. She also has serious mental disabilities and uncontrollable outbursts of aggression, so she was kept in chains at the clinic and has scars on her neck and arms. It is these scars that she covers with ribbons. Moreover, this is not Lena's first attempt to move into a family under the guise of a child and then try to seduce the father. However, each time it ended in refusal and mass murder. Thus, she already has at least 7 victims. The woman immediately runs away from the clinic and rushes home, calling the police on the way, but she can't get through to John because Esther has already eliminated him and is now looking for Max, who managed to escape. Upon arriving home, Kate discovers her husband's body and is immediately shot in the shoulder by Lena, who couldn't find Max but has acquired a gun. After a short chase, all 3 end up in the greenhouse. Lena shoots Max several times, but misses. Kate manages to get to the roof and jumps on top of Lena. This causes her to lose consciousness. The mother and daughter run out of the house into the woods and run to the road where police cars are already visible. However, at the last moment, Lena catches up with them and wounds Kate again. A fight breaks out, and the women fall through the ice. Kate manages to get out, but Lena grabs her leg and tries to drag her away. The film ends with the police finding Kate and Max by the lake.